Hi everybody, welcome to a Pintz Amiga tech thing. Some of you eagle-eye viewers out there may have noticed that this is a Amiga 4000. For the one of y'all that don't, congratulations, it's an Amiga 4000. This is the Amiga 4000 that runs the Pintz Amiga Game Night live stream. We do, contrary to what some people may say, we do run on real hardware. This is the real hardware that we run on. This is our 4000. It is run by, as you can see, a 3640 card running at 25 megahertz. We also have 16 megs of fast memory over here with 2 megs of chip. Now, given that this is Pintz Amiga, we don't leave anything up to stock. We have expansions, as you can probably see from the video, and we'll start here. We have here this is a Big RAM Zorro 3. This is 256 megs of RAM, fast RAM. This is probably more RAM than anybody pretty much needs for any Amiga machine. And I bought this from AmigaKit.com, which I think I have. No, I don't have one of the stickers. But this is made by individual computers, which we'll get to in a little bit because I have another part that is made by him that we'll get to next. But all of the parts that I'm listing here today will be down in the description. And so if any of y'all Amiga enthusiasts out there would like to buy some of these parts or have a machine that can run one of these parts, feel free to look down in the description and you'll be able to buy them from there. The catch is you're wondering, how the heck do you get 256 megs of RAM on an Amiga machine? Well, the biggest thing that you need is, for one, again, Zorro 3 memory card. So you need a Zorro 3 machine. So a Amiga 3000 or 4000. One. Two, right here, you need to have, which I have right here, is a Buster 11. So that's a requirement for the big RAM, the 256 Zorro 3 big RAM. Now, I will go ahead and go on record and say that there is another big RAM, primarily for 2000 cards. That requires a 6830 accelerator card, and that big RAM attaches to the expansion slot on the back of that accelerator card. So it's a little bit of a more specialized RAM card, and it slots to that 030 accelerator card for the 2000. This card, again here, slots into the Zorro 3 slot. So you don't need an accelerator for this if you have a Zorro 3 equipped machine. Again, an 3000 or 4000. Moving on, we will go to this little card, and as you can see, this has some IDE sockets on it. I don't know how that looks there. I have my little product window here. There's some IDE sockets there. This, again, made by individual computers, and I bought this from AmigaKit, another retailer. This is the 25th anniversary Buddha IDE flash card. This is a Zorro 2/Zorro 3 IDE, basically expansion card. And if you are on a Zorro 3 expansion bus, again, a 3000, 4000, both D and T varieties, this will give you up to a 3.3 megabit per second transfer speed over IDE smoking. It's essentially a one-to-one bus transfer speed over IDE for a Zorro 3 slot. For a Zorro 2 slot, I think it's a little bit slower, of course, but regardless of your slot, it basically gives you a one-to-one transfer directly to the bus over IDE. It also has support for DOM modules, which are, for the uneducated or the unknown, are disk-on module units, primarily IDE interfaced. These are solid state units that require, I guess you could say, dedicated power. This particular update and everything, or this particular version, or the newest versions that you get, the 25th anniversary edition, primarily, they do have the update to provide power for the DOMs. So you can use solid state IDE disk-on module units to provide both storage and bootable disks. As you can probably see here, I have my little trusty little laser here. I don't know how well you can see this, but there is a clock port on this particular module. The good thing about the clock port is that this allows you on your big box Amigas, 2000, anything with a Zorro 2 or Zorro 3 slot, will allow you to put anything from basically any 1200 expansions that go over clock port into your big box Amigas, your 2000s, your 3000s, your 4000s, your 3000Ts, your 4000Ts. This allows you things like real-time clock modules, which is what that port was originally intended for. That's why they're called clock port. But also sound cards that were also available to the 1200. There's lots of different cards, most notably real-time clock modules and sound cards. There was a couple of smaller expansion cards, memory cards, that sort of things. So this allows you to put 1200 clock port expansions into your big box Amigas that were before only available to your 1200s. So that's an awesome little addition that individual computers included. That's a great addition. And I haven't put anything on there recently, but honestly, I think we're probably going to put a real-time clock module, or if I can have my way, a Delphina clock port, or a Rapid Road for clock port, because that's the thing that you could put on there as well to give your big box Amigas USB support without having to get an Xsurf card. So there is a Rapid Road for clock port, and if you get a Buddha, which this Buddha 25th anniversary is roughly about 80 pounds US or $80 US. That means that for another $100, you could put a Rapid Road and give your big box Amiga IDE or USB support without having the expense of the Xsurf, which is awesome as well. speaking of storage and all that good jazz and everything, and with the IDE stuff and everything, and going on to our next, probably our number 2 expansion or peripheral or modern day, I guess you could say, add-on for this machine is that we have a IDE to SD card adapter. And this is exactly as it says. This is a standard, 40 pin or 44 pin IDE to SD. We have a micro, a regular SD to micro SD, and I think we have, as far as this build and what we've been working with commonly, I can't pull it out, I'm not going to dick with it, but I think it's like 16 gigs, maybe a little bit more. Again, links to the description. This is kind of an Amazon special. This is about $12 to $15, I think, is what I spent on it on Amazon US, of course. It has both floppy power and Molex power. Awesome guy. And again, included with the Buddha IDE 25th anniversary, this guy meets this guy, solid state. There's probably no better or no faster read, write, or access speeds out there outside of probably going with a fast ATA, which, not going to get into too much detail or to sidetrack off of that, but fast ATA is another expansion card similar to the Buddha, but it has its own DMA chips and dedicated custom chips and things for it that goes out to IDE, and it allows for IDE speeds up to like PIO 5 or 6, I think even 7 in experimental modes. And it's just insanely fast, but it's also like 150 US bucks. So without going to that, I think this is pretty much the fastest you can get. I think the only thing faster, again, is to go to a fast ATA and then go to an IDE to SD, or go straight to a solid state, even with an IDE to SATA adapter or something like that. But that's pretty much the only way you're gonna get any faster, because the fast ATA has its own DMA slots or chips and stuff on it, and its own controller chips. So without spending basically virtually 2 times as much, this is pretty much the fastest you can get right here, is having the IDE to SATA and the Buddha Flash 25th. Moving on, and I'm gonna put this right here. Moving on, we're gonna kind of, and I've got some pigtails kind of going here just for sake of argument. I have some, this is I think about a 4 or 8 speed, something like that. It's not a crazy fast speed CD-ROM drive at all. It's pretty generic. It's an HP something another, but I don't think it's more than like an 8 speed. You don't need anything very speed, but this is an IDE CD-ROM drive. And then the eagle-eyed among you will notice that this is, of course, a Gotek floppy emulator. This is a floppy emulation device. I have the OLED mod done to it, and I like to run Flash Floppy, just because with Flash Floppy you can load up folders and all that good jazz, and you can load up, you can have multiple folders of things, and you can say like, oh, I have a folder for, say, Monkey Island, which is several discs long. You can have a Monkey Island folder on your flash drive, and inside that folder you have all your Monkey Island, ADF images and everything, and you can flip between there and jump to them. That's one key benefit that I like about Flash Floppy. Another key benefit about Flash Floppy is, unlike Selector, I don't have to keep up with what game or image or floppy is on what number of image. So with with Selector, you have like slot 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 999. I don't have to worry about that. Monkey Island is in disc 1, Speedball is in disc 2, image 2 or anything. With Selector and with the OLED, I just go through and it tells me this is Speedball, select it, go, reboot the machine. I'm right into the floppy. There is no guesswork, there is no anything. It's super intuitive. I love Flash Floppy. I recommend Flash Floppy for all GoTech users. It makes your life a heck of a lot easier. And get the OLED mod, because the OLED mod with Flash Floppy makes your life a heck of a lot easier. So yeah, that's pretty much all of our optical drives there. And again, albeit except for the floppy, the CD-ROM also goes into our Buddha 25th anniversary card. So our optical is, again, only limited by the speed of the optical, because the Buddha 25th anniversary goes at the speed of the Zorro 3 bus, so we're only limited by the optical speed of the optical drive itself. So love it. Moving on to the serious meat and taters of this specific setup. And I'll move this over here. Moving on to the serious meat and potatoes and steak and potatoes, whatever you want to call it, just the major girth of what makes this machine, and is what is probably the second most biggest powerhouse component outside of the processor, is this little guy right here. And I'm gonna go over here to our little product window here, or product video shot here, like I like to call it. This right here is, and I'll try to get that, there we go, more in a frame. This is our VA2000 graphics card. And this is a modern Zorro 2, Zorro 3 graphics card. So this will go in your Zorro 2 equipped Amiga machines. So most commonly your Amiga 2000s. However, in a Zorro 2 machine, it is a little bit more bottlenecked. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is the VA2000 FPGA graphics card, made by a gentleman named Luke over in Germany, who operates under the company called MNT. And again, this is FPGA based graphics card. It's an awesome little graphics card. It is completely open source. He's making revisions to the firmware, to the drivers, everything. It currently uses Picasso 96 drivers in support, along with its own drivers and everything, but its graphics drivers that it uses currently right now are the Picasso 96. and he's doing a lot with it. It's a fantastic product. I have it. Again, because it's open source, it's kind of like buying into an early access game on, say, Steam or something like that. So it has its own kind of quirks and things to it. But overall, I've been very happy with it. Again, it is FPGA based, so even though nobody has really done much with the FPGA outside of Luke himself, there is the possibility to load up new cores and things on it. So you can theoretically load up cores and everything onto the FPGA. As far as my knowledge, nobody's really dug into that or done anything with it, but it is there. You can do some things with it. It is I believe it is a Spartan FPGA. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Luke, if you're seeing this or any of the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's Spartan FPGA. But again, I don't know of anybody that's done anything really with reprogramming the cores or anything on there, but you could theoretically do that, and that is a possibility. I don't know how easy this is to see here. I'm going to give you my best to kind of show you. But that is an HDMI output. That is a full-sized HDMI output there. And we do, for our machine, we do have a HDMI hookup that goes here like this, just to kind of show you. That is a hookup from the port from the graphics card that gives us another female port out the back of the machine here. Simple little adapter with a modified bracket and everything that we dremeled out and everything to mount the HDMI output, basically, to take this output to there. It does have, and this may be a little difficult to see, but it does right here, or right here, have a USB mini to basically reflash this with any additional cores or firmware updates or anything like that, because this does have its own firmware and its own cores and things that you can update and play with. So the USB is there to do that with. There's also, for probably some of you eagle-eye people out there, that there is also an SD storage on there. There's an additional driver that Luke offers on his webpage and everything with the rest of his drivers for this video card to activate that SD storage. That is an additional storage that at this time that I'm recording this, I'm 90% positive that slot is still not a bootable device, but it is definitely a storable device, so it can be done as an added storage. So that's kind of the graphics card as a whole. However, that is not the complete package. This little guy right here, that is an additional fee, or as an additional spot. This is the CX or the VA2000 CX card, or I can't remember the exact nomenclature that Luke says it at, but again, this is made by M&T and by Luke. And basically what this does is this is a video pass-through card. And what this is it goes into the video slot on the lower back section of the card, nearest the back of the machine at the very bottom. And what this does is it interrupts the native resolution of the Amiga. So when you're playing, say, Amiga games or using Amiga native programs or something like that, that is using a Amiga native resolution, so your 640s, your 320s, that sort of thing, this will interrupt that signal, and over this pinout here, and this may be a little difficult to see, but over this pinout here, and let me actually get a little closer in there, over this pinout here, it passes through that video to this pinout here. And that's why we have this nice, colorful little graphics or rainbow colored cable here, or partially here, or here, or however you want to do it. I've been kind of product spacing over here for a bit. But this little rainbow colored ribbon cable here that kind of almost looks like a colorful, almost like an IDE cable almost. I think it actually almost has the same pinouts as an IDE cable. Goes from the pinouts on the VA2000 to the pinouts on the VA2000CX. And again, these two cards right here in parallel. This is the graphics card. Again, FPGA, open source based, awesome little graphics card. Supports up to modern resolutions up to 1080p at 32-bit theoretical. I've had some mixed results. Again, I'm only on a 40 at 25. With a faster CPU, say a 060 at 50 or a PPC, that would be different. But with me on an 040, those kind of resolutions are a little chunky. They draw a little slow for me. I find that for myself, I like a good 800 by 600 at 32-bit, or a 700 or a 720 at 32-bit works good as well. We, for Pintz Amiga, are upscaling to a 65-inch television. So 720 going up to a 65-inch gets a little small. So we find our best results are with 800 by 600, which I know a lot of you are going 800 by 600. I can get that out of a CyberVision. Sure, you can, but what you can't get out of a CyberVision is 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080, all at 32-bit. And there's even some production modes that Lucas recently released with the newest firmware and drivers that allow you not necessarily 4x3 or 16x9, they're more like perfect ratio screen modes, say like, I think 1024 by 1024 or something like that, like equal perfect screen modes for productivity things at like 15-bit even, 16-bit even. So very capable graphics card that's still being developed. And again, the CX, or the VA2000 CX, that allows the native resolution, so your 640 by 480, that sort of thing, to pass through, be captured, and go through this card at the resolutions that you set this at. Great package. Haven't had a whole lot of problems with it. Been loving it. It's a great solution, and it offers a lot of good things, and it does its job. And I can't be more happy with it. And I'm excited to see what Luke does with it and what M&T continues to do with it. So, couldn't recommend it more highly. On to the next little spot, without bandwagoning on M&T. But again, it's a big part of what makes this machine great. Going on to the next little spot, into getting into the external peripherals and things, and some of the more ease of life and things, or modern amenities, I guess you could say. We get into, starting off with, this is the A234/CD32 adapter, which is PS2, which actually, let me get that in there a little bit more for you. Yeah, there we go. Again, I got this from a trade and everything. I traded my original Amiga 4000 keyboard. I know, kick me while you can, you guys out there, I don't mind, but however, I wanted this over the keyboard. I traded it. I thought it was an equal trade because I wanted me to have a wireless keyboard. Sorry, kick me in the butt, but I win because I have a wireless keyboard. But this takes and does the PS2 to USB. And even though it's a little bit, it's not without its fault, okay? So I'm not gonna lie to you or not, be honest with you. But the SUM adapter is not without its fault. It does kind of get finicky. You do have to kind of unplug it, plug it back in from time to time. It does kind of have its moments. It's not a 100% perfect solution, but it works for what I do, and I don't have too many problems from it. Again, that's the, and I don't know if you can see that too well, might have too much of a glare. Oh, there we go. But that is the SUM 234/CD32, so it will work on a CD32 if you have, say, the Terrible Fire or something like that for your CD32. And I have a little bitty wireless dongle here because, and I can't recommend this enough, that when you're using the when you're using the SUM adapter, be careful that the default mapping on a Windows keyboard anyway, is to control Windows. So you need to make sure that you have a dual Windows key keyboard if you're using a Windows keyboard. You can remap these and go into the options and everything. It's very simple. And this guy is made by, the SUM adapter is made by Retro 7-Bit. And they're great. They're a company that makes another product that I'll get to a little bit later on. But make sure you have a keyboard for ease of use. Make sure you have a keyboard that has 2 Windows keys on it if you're using a PC keyboard. So that way your stuff is automatically defaulted. You don't have to worry about anything, you know, weird. That's why when I was shopping for a wireless keyboard, I went with this HP K2500, and this might be a little bit difficult for me to put into my product window here for y'all. Here, I don't know how that's going on there, but this is a HP K2500 wireless keyboard. Again, I'll make a link to the description to the Amazon that I bought this from. I bought this from Amazon. This, and trust me, I dug and dug and dug and dug and dug and dug and dug for a wireless keyboard that has double Windows keys on it. So that way I wouldn't have to worry about reprogramming the EEPROM and everything that's built into the SUM adapter. Again, this is made by Retro 7-Bit. They make some great stuff, and I have more than one product by them that we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, I wanted a wireless keyboard adapter. So, yes, I traded my stock A4000 keyboard to the guy that gave me this machine free of charge. I traded him the keyboard that he gave me for the SUM adapter that he already had because he was having whatever issues or whatnot. But it works for me, and I love the fact that I have a wireless keyboard on my Amiga 4000. It is a godsend. I can't tell you how useful it is for us on Pintz Amiga to have a wireless keyboard. And again, that is an HP K2500. On to the, I think virtually the last peripherals that I have left here is this. You're like, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are like, what the heck is that? That just looks like probably some weird, glared out mess, shining mess. And maybe I can give y'all a little bit better taste over here on the product camera here. But basically what this is, and I have two of these, and I'll scoot my Amiga over a little bit this way. I don't know if y'all can see this quite yet, but I have two of these little guys right here and right here. And if I don't drop it on the floor, is the Rice Mark II adapter. And again, I have two of them, one here and one right here. And I'll give y'all another maybe give y'all a close-up here without some glare. I don't know how well you can kind of see that, but that's the adapter itself. And then and this guy is attached to a automatic joystick / mic, or not mic, mouse switcher. And of course, I have my nice MegaTech mouse, 9-pin, of course. Works great. Use it all the time on Pintz Amiga game nights. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are wondering, what's so great about these Rice adapters? What does it do? It's just this weird thing attached to this other weird thing, switcher thing. Well, unless, if I don't know what this looks like over here. I need to see my little view screen here. But I don't know if y'all can see that too well, but that is, yeah, there we go. We got a, that is a USB port. It is a USB port. And that is going to 9-pin here on the little automatic mice switcher. And you may be able to notice that there is some LEDs here and here that tells you that there is a peripheral hooked up. Then this one tells you what emulation mode you're in. What's good about this, and I'm sure if most of y'all that may be watching this that are fans of ours already, you're thinking, what are they talking about? Emulation mode, having the joystick and everything, or the joypad on the wrong mode. Well, here's why. The rice adapter has a built-in EEPROM that allows for mice, for a mouse to be hooked up to it, of course, but also for simple HUD device, joypads, joysticks, etc., to be hooked up to it. And when you have a joypad or a joystick hooked up to it, there is 4 different emulation modes on it. If the light blinks once, and these are changed by pressing start and select on your joypad, or I believe both buttons on a joystick. I haven't tried on a joystick, only joypads. I'm a joypad kind of guy. My dad's a joypad kind of guy. We like joypads, unfortunately. But if it blinks once, it's in joystick mode, which is just basically single button mode. You got your D-pad, and if you're on a joypad, your D-pad functions as your stick, and then you've got one fire. Second mode functions as what they like to call standard joypad mode. So what that does is your D-pad works as normal. You have a regular, fire button, but then you also, depending on your controller, on mine it's mapped to a particular button, but you get also a remap or an additional map that is mapped for up on the joystick, which traditionally with these older kind of games for the Amiga operating system is jump. A lot of these games have up to jump, and a lot of people will note that up to jump, even with modern stuff, old stuff, can be kind of annoying. So it's nice to have a remap or an additional map for a button to jump. So 2 blinks gives you that mode that is kind of the standard joypad mode, if you will. The third mode is what they like to call mouse emulation mode for joypads, joysticks. That allows your joypad or joystick to be used as a mouse to function around on your workbench or desktop as a mouse. So that means your standard joystick, joypad, or whatnot can be used as a mouse. That's kind of what it means. That's 3 blinks on that button. The last mode is standard CD32 mode. Now, I've kind of had a little bit of mixed bags with that, but however, these are the pads that me and my dad use for Pintz Amiga, and I'm going to kind of put this over in my product view here. I did start off in some of the earlier videos of Pintz Amiga. You probably noticed that I had some wireless, or one wireless of a SNES controller, which worked great. Basically what it did is it was a Chinese special order off of Amazon. I wore it out, I broke it. But I have since ordered 2 of these Buffaloes for the same price, roughly about 17 to 20 US dollars. And these guys are great. They are built like tanks. They're a little bit off color. They have more of like a Super Famicom kind of thing going on with the buttons and everything. But they also have a turbo, and then clear turbo, of course. And then if you press start and select, like I mentioned before, when using the rice adapters, you change the emulation mode on the rice adapter to change the functionality of the joypad from standard joystick to standard joypad to mouse emulation, which mouse emulation on these don't really work too well. However, there is a PS2 clone Chinese knockoff USB controller that my dad likes to use that works really well for a basically a pseudo mouse that works well, that has like analog sticks and everything. It's basically a Chinese knockoff PS2 controller. Works really well in the mouse mode to navigate the desktop and everything. This guy, however, with the standard just, NES style D-pad, doesn't really work at all in the mouse emulation mode on the desktop or the workbench. With this particular guy, there is a little bit, I like these, and SNES controllers like this are great for use with the rice adapters, because SNES controllers have the same amount of buttons in virtually the same place as CD32 controllers. So if you put the rice adapter, as I have here attached to my little switcher, in CD32 mode, you get all of the same buttons in virtually the same place. Makes really good thing. So if you get a rice adapter, get a SNES USB controller. I recommend these Buffaloes. They're great because they're built tough and they have turbo on them. But get a USB SNES style controller with the rice adapters, because when you switch the rice adapter to a CD32 mode and you play CD32 games, you will have virtually the same mapping as a CD32 controller without the price point of a CD32 controller or competition, CD32 Competition Pro, etc. These are a lot cheaper. Like I said, I got like 2 of these for like 17 or 20 bucks. They're built like tanks. The Buffalo, again, links in the description. I got mine off of Amazon. They're awesome. The only thing that I will say is that when you're in the single light mode on the rice, so the standard joystick mode, your button will be mapped to, your fire will be mapped to A on these. If you're in standard joypad mode, your fire will be down here on the yellow, or B, and your up will be, it will still be up, but will also be mapped to here for like platformers and stuff, so you can actually have a button for up. And then CD32, your fire is still down here on the yellow, and everything is still kind of mapped out relatively the same as a CD32 controller. But there may be some colors and everything like that kind of revolved around. But hey, if you're super anal about or super picky about your colors when it comes to your CD32 mode, you can always crack this bad boy open, flip around the buttons and all that if you're really anal about having the right colors in the right spot. But works great. Can't recommend them more. And like I said, there are USB versions out there. I've had one that are wireless. They work great. But like I said, I busted up my wireless one and just wore out the D-pad to the point to where it just wouldn't start registering up or down. But it worked great. So there are some HUD compliant wireless SNESs out there that can help you there, so you can have wireless controllers with your Amiga. But even though these are USB, I've gotten some 10-foot, standard, just cheap USB extensions. Work great. And these Buffalo controllers, even though they're from Amazon and they're made in China, they're built like tanks, and I love them. So I think that's virtually it as far as peripherals and things like that, and kind of expansions and things. I hope y'all have kind of enjoyed and kind of gotten some insight, and I hope I've proved to a lot of you guys, and I'm going to kind of move everything kind of here into picture for y'all. But I've kind of proven, hopefully, to a lot of you guys that Pintz Amiga does actually work on real hardware, and we run off of real hardware. We are not emulating. And yeah, so I'm going to basically reassemble this and put in all the components and everything that we have here right now, and kind of wrap up the rest of this video and kind of put it together. I will put on the faceplate. I'm not going to put on the case and everything like that, but I'm going to kind of show y'all kind of how where everything kind of goes and all that. And I hope y'all enjoy, and while I sit here and reassemble this, I hope y'all check us out again, Pintz Amiga game night and everything, and check us out on, I'm pretty sure we're on Facebook and everything, and we do live streams every Saturday at 2 p.m. We also have Dreamcast content that we do on Sundays from time to time. We've kind of been taking a time off from that, but we do Dreamcast as well and everything. So we're expanding the channel and everything. So I hope you'll check us out and continue watching, and I hope you like what you see here. And I'm just gonna put this fantastic machine back together, kind of show y'all where everything goes and how it all kind of fits together. And we might do a little bit of a speed montage or something, or a speed up or anything, but I'm gonna start putting this machine back together. So enjoy, and I hope to see y'all soon. So here we go. So I'm gonna kind of start with some of the bay, because this can kind of be a little bit more of a pain in the butt than some of the other parts, and it kind of has to go in certain areas, and kind of get in the way. You have a lot of cards and stuff and everything. This is the CDVA audio, or the CD audio header that comes off of the CD drive here, that goes there. Yeah. And I'm gonna kind of take this in a little bit of a different route, and I don't know if y'all can really see this. I'm gonna probably get in y'all's way, but I gotta hook up this floppy power. That's another reason why I left these kind of pigtailed out and dangly, because I did not want to have to reconnect the floppy cable to the floppy down up inside of the bay there. It's bad enough to have to hook up the power. It's a whole nother thing to hook up the floppy cable. There we go for Molex. And I don't know, some of the more advanced users may know, but we do have, again, the CDDA audio connection. I don't know how easy this is to see for y'all back there, but I'm going to kind of try to lift this up, give you a little laser there. But right up in there near the back of the machine, right up by the left and right RCA right there, there actually is a CDDA or CD audio header for the CD audio connection from the drive back right in here. So the CD, if I can get it in the right spot for y'all, or zoomed in correctly, but from the CD audio from the drive to the machine, there's actually a hookup on an A4000 to allow the CD audio. So if you were to say emulate or do some CD32 emulation on a 4000, which we have done and is capable and is virtually not that all hard to do. The only difference between a 4000 and a 3000 really is the Akiko chip, which is just a CD IO essentially, or CD DMA controller essentially. It's for CD control. So yes. So you do have a hookup on a 4000 that may not too many people know about to pass CD audio through the Paula, which is the onboard audio chip for those that may not know, and to pass through the external RCA jacks. And there is a slot here on the daughter card that houses all the slots on a 4000 that allows for the pass-through of the IDE for my Buddha, which I will be installing here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and screw in, if I don't throw my screws everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and screw in. So I can go ahead and get it all latched in. I'm going to remove this just so I don't. Cost-cutting measures by Commodore. That on there now that I've got it locked into place on the tray. Put this here. And these on the front to lock in this tray here are just standard, pretty much standard PC screws. They're not anything too crazy special. It just screws in on the front to lock in the whole drive bay assembly for the floppy and the CD-ROM. Screw that on in there. Cool, got that. Again, price cutting measure by Commodore. Couldn't afford a soft button, so let's just put in a rod.
Yeah.
line that up with the physical switch on the power supply there. Alright, now our floppy connection is still on board here, so I gotta kind of make sure our floppy is good. Make sure my pin 1 is with pin 1. Kind of a little bit in the dark here. Be sure not to pin any pins. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Can't tell you how many times my dad's done that. It kind of happens when working on these old machines. You just, from time to time, you just slip up a bit and bend a pin. Might be a good time to actually talk about what I'm drinking right now, since this is Pintz Amiga. I'm drinking Brut IPA by Sierra Nevada.
This is
so. So, I'm just saying, since this is technically a Pintz Amiga production, I guess you could say, this Pintz and Amiga tech thing. I'm still drinking pints, so this is Brut IPA by Sierra Nevada. So, and here we go with that. So I'm going to next up, I think should be probably is the drive bay. Now this, no, wait, sorry, I almost goofed up. Actually, what we need to do is I need to take this and lay this guy across here, and you're like, why are you laying that IDE cable across? You'll see in a minute, because what I need to do actually is fold this back one, put this down, and because this is the protective part that protects against grounding and stuff. Again, a cheap cost-cutting measure by Commodore. And then put this bar actually comes across here. Or, no, actually it goes like this, and then this goes in like so. And you kind of have to finagle this in like that. And what this does is this bar holds the daughter board from doing this number, as you can see, kind of wibbly wobbly. Once you put this bar down and you put this in to protect it from shorting out, thank you, Commodore, you now have a secured daughter board and all that good jazz, and you don't have to worry about your machine blowing up. So what I like to do is I like to put this like so, put this guy in like that. Even though I don't have the hard drive in there, you kind of can't put the cable in once you put down the bar. So because the cable has to go through or up underneath this between this slot, it's kind of the cutout here. You can't really see it. And there's a cutout here on the daughter board that the cables pass over and under the basically the lock-in bar that locks that in place. And what we do is I have my screws here. Now, of course, a lot of these screws are not native factory screws, but in a lot of cases, they're probably better than what came from the factory, because they're probably more compatible with standard tools, one, and two, are a little bit easier to source, but are still easily fitted. As long as I can get it in the socket or spot here. Where's my spot? Lined up here. Let's hold it. Alright, I'm gonna have to flip this kind of around and see what my dealio is. What the heck? There we go. I was just off a little bit. Oh, dropped my screw. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There she is. Got it. Why aren't you wanting to line up right here? It's being a little funky. Backwards. Might have it backwards. It's a high possibility. Looks to be backwards. Makes me look like a goober when I can't even put in the daughter bar. I'm gonna call it the daughter bar, guys. The daughter bar. It's gonna be the daughter bar. To kind of hold it all into place. There we go. We're all good. So here we go with that. This keeps everything grounded out. Put it in the right direction. Card, order card. Yep. Got my dad over here giving me little cheat sheets over here. So again, please check us out over at well, I mean, of course, if you're watching this video so far, I'm pretty sure you know that you're on our channel and everything, but please be sure to tune in to Pintz Amiga Game Night every Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time. And we do that every Saturday, unless otherwise noted. We do have a couple of things coming up later in the upcoming month that may change that up or not. But either way, join us for that. That is a live stream, unedited. We usually stream anywhere from 4 to 5 hours. Good beer. Good IPA. Very nice. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are like screaming at me like, I just got a beer over by such a nice machine. Such an expensive machine. Trust me, the beer's over here a little bit. It just looks like I've got it right next to me. So we'll kind of tuck some of these wires down in that way. Now, I like to start off with my CX card because that kind of goes down in a wonky spot way down on the bottom of the daughter card over here. May or may not be able to see too well. Maybe I can give you a little light. Alright, maybe I'll do like that. It goes way down here in the video card slot. It doesn't fill the whole thing, but slides in right there. That is the VA2000CX for the pass-through. I highly recommend, if you get the VA2000, you have to get the CX. This is very much a package kind of peripheral. If you just get the graphics card, it really doesn't do too much for you. I mean, other than give you nice, fancy, big desktop graphics. But without the CX, you're kind of one without the other situation because the Amiga is just going to default out the RGB23. And you're just going to get that anyway. At least with the CX, you get those default modes straight out the HDMI. You don't have to worry about switching stuff around or video sources or monitors or anything like that. It's all out the same HDMI. So I can't recommend the CX more when it comes to the VA. So I'm just gonna press that down here in the very last Zora 3 slot. Now, as you could probably tell, we've had our VA2000 and CX for quite some time, so our pass-through cable is kind of folded and molded, if you will, to our machine, and it works great. Folded and molded. I love the rhyming and the alliteration, I guess, or well, rhyming more than anything. Just like what happens when you leave your mouse at another man's house. If you don't know what that is, just look up our recent posts and you'll see, because we definitely don't stray from the Amiga meme territory. And if you haven't found out, I'm pretty sure here short. I'm not sure when this video will go up, but be sure to look at our video when you leave a mouse at another man's house. That will post up as well on our channel, because talk about perfect Amiga meme territory. So I think I'm just gonna next, you know what, go for the big RAM. I'm gonna put it right down here, right above the VA2000. Wait, actually, before I do that, before I get ahead of myself, it'd be nice if I hooked up the display output. And we have a HDMI to female HDMI, again, with the modified bracket and stuff out the back there. I don't know how well you can see that. But yeah, so we can take the HDMI from the VA and have a standard female HDMI out the back. And it works great. And I just realized I missed my Molex power for my hard drive. It'd be nice if my hard drive had power. So anyway, we have our so far we have our IDE cables, we have our graphics card in place, our display output hooked up, pass-through hooked up. go ahead and put in our memory card. Go ahead and push that guy in there. Again, the Big RAM, this particular Big RAM Plus is only compatible with Zora 3 machines. So 3000, 4000, 3000 Ts, 4000 Ts, and you have to have a Buster 11. I can't stress that anymore. You have to have a Buster 11. There is a Big RAM Plus for 2000s. However, you have to have the 030 accelerator, and that particular Big RAM attaches onto the expansion slot on the accelerator card itself, and that is only a 128 megabyte expansion. I have a buddy of mine, Carl, that has one. He loves it. I love my Big RAM Plus. I mean, there's no better feeling in the world when you cache ADOOM to RAM and you're basically running all of ADOOM out of RAM and you don't have to touch the hard drive at all. You just cache everything to RAM. There's no access speed or anything or downtime whatsoever. It's amazing. I load levels like it's going out of style. Now, for sake of convenience and I guess you could say consistency, I'm going to go ahead and slot my Buddha IDE here in my topmost, forwardmost Zora slot here. I want to say yes. Okay. So I have to make sure I do this correctly because the way the Amiga works and everything with the disk identifications, I have to put my hard drive in the farthest slot towards the camera, and then my CD-ROM in the other. So they're in the right spot and the address right because of the way the Amiga does its addressing. The next thing is just a simple kind of thing. I probably should have just put this in beforehand, but it's not a big deal because I can get to it still relatively easily. And that's to kind of, I like to route my sum adapter through the expansion port on the back here, as you can see. And I just kind of push him through like that, drop him in there, and he fits really nicely, kind of locks in fairly snugly between the back of the case and the drive bay, and works very good. And then he just kind of goes right here into the PS2 port. Now, my PS2 port is a little bit, for lack of a better dictionary word, janky. So I'm actually probably going to be doing a PS2 replacement port come the next few weeks. So yeah, but I like it there. I like the expansion port thing. It puts a little bit of stress here. I did have it coming through a slot over here, but that was a little bit tougher to get through than the expansion slot with the PS2 kind of in that the sub, this kind of in that the sub adapter has. So tomatoes kind of thing. So yeah, basically all that's left is I'm not gonna put the case panel over it or anything. I will, however, put on the front panel, and I have the front panel here. Now I have changed out my LEDs on the front panel, so I have some really nice high color, high contrast, really bright, like blue for power, green for hard drive activity, so it's a little bit of a customized lighting. But yeah, that's virtually it. I'm gonna pop this front plate on here. The power is a little bit tricky to get to. I'm not sure. I always get these cables mixed up for the front. The power can be a little tricky to get to. I don't know if I'll be able to get it in any relative speed. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold that off for a later time. Hook up my, hopefully what is to be my hard drive LED. In the meantime, and so, yeah, there's a fully assembled A4000. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Give us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Please check us out on every Saturday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do live streams and everything on the Amiga. Also, please keep a lookout for our Dreamcast content. We stream what we call Pintz and Dreamcast playlists and everything. It's on the same channel. So anytime we're live, if you like, comment, subscribe, ring that little bell, you'll know when we're live streaming and everything. We don't do too many of these pre-recorded content as of right now. We do mostly live stream, but please feel free to check us out. And I'll see y'all next time, and hopefully on the next stream. So, bye.